Hey guys, Xylus here. Today's going to be a video talking about Safiyyah. After playing with her for 3 days now, giving you guys my impression, what my thoughts are about her, after some pretty extensive trial and error running her through PvP, PvE, and just some boss fights. So just quick, I honestly think she's a must-pull unit. T0, there's a reason she's so highly rated in CN or any kind of tier list that you'll see. There's a reason she's at the top for both PvE and PvP. Originally, I had her at 1 star when I did my PvP video the other day. I did a couple more pulls and got really lucky and got her back to back. So I'm currently at 3 star. So I was able to do some testing at her 1 star and then testing at her 3 star. So just gonna give my impressions about her star and her kind of passive skill. So at the start of the turn, she locks into one random enemy within 4 tiles, inflicts the hanged man marks, so you pretty much just do more damage. For 1 turn, attacking enemies deals additional physical damage equal to 16% of the target's HP, but no more than 150% of Safiyyah's physical attack. So it's really important that you stack as much physical attack on her as possible. This is procced by pretty much anyone. So as soon as an enemy has the hanged man's mark, anyone that attacks them, and if she's within range, she does extra damage. So super versatile. She does get a really big power leap at 2 star. The reason is because she gets lifesteal, which makes her in a sense a really tanky seeker unit, because she can go from like dying back to full HP in 1 turn without even having a healer on your team. And then at 3 star, it's the same lifesteal, but it locks into 2 enemies and it does a bit more physical damage. I think that anyone who has her should aim for her 5 star, and if you don't have her, I really highly recommend that you pull on her, just because she's so good at all content in the game right now. Her best in slot trinket is most definitely Flying Blade, Arm Guard. The reason is the sudden strike procs her talent. And it's an instant ability, so you instantly do piercing damage equal to 15% of the enemy's HP. It's a bit less when it's 1 star, but it procs her talent, so you're kind of doing like a double whammy. Her best turret is Course of Fortune. The reason is because it also procs her talent when you have the AoE burst, when it does the shootout and hits any enemy that's marked by the hangman mark. It does that extra physical damage equal to the target's HP, which is pretty nutty. So there's a lot of conversation going on about what her best in slot weapon is. Most people say it's either these two, the Everburning Blade or the Newborn Blade. Right now, I just got this blade yesterday. I don't have it built up, so I can't really do testing with it. But as a universal weapon, I think the Newborn Blade is the best. The reason is because it increases her HP, which makes her a bit more tanky, but then also grants her physical attack equal to her HP, which we already talked about. Because her talent procs off of her physical attack, stacking as high physical attack as possible is what you should be doing. And also just having more HP is never a bad thing, because it lets you take a couple hits. To kind of go over what her best skills are, you want team attack for sure. The reason is because it grants the closest ally speed 3, which is 150 speed, as well as increases their physical attack and magic attack. This has no limit, so you can be 8 tiles away from an ally use this, and the closest ally, even if they're 8 tiles away, is going to get a speed up as well as an attack up, which is really, really crazy. Her reaction, you want Blade Chase, performs assisting attack against enemies with the Hangman mark within 3 tiles. This is what procs with her Thorny Rose. As long as she's within 3 tiles of an enemy that's marked, she's going to be doing big damage. I have a video saved that I'm going to show you guys as like a showcase to kind of what I'm talking about. The anti-espionage order is a must-have. You're going to have this running on her at all times. It lets her pretty much summon an ally similar to a Convallaria, where he summons his assassins. This one lasts for 2 turns, but it has 85% of her stats. And then it also does the Hanged Man mark, physical defense and magical defense down on the target. So a huge debuff, and then you summon one of her agents, and the agent does a lot of damage. I like running this on her, HM Commander. It's an aura. All other allies within 5 tiles, and a 5-tile range is huge. Of the character gains 15% bonus attack when attacking enemies that are marked. So she drops a summon that does a huge debuff. She has a massive 5-tile aura buff that grants all allies 15% attack. She, from using a basic attack, grants probably one of the best buffs in the game. And then she has Blade Chase as well as her passive that do huge damage against any enemy. This Shadowless Blade, this is very much a PvE skill. It doesn't really work that well in PvP because not a single person isn't going to attack you when you have Shadowless Blade. So when you're rocking PvP, you want tactics or tactic adjustment. It's an instant skill. It lets you select any target, change her role into that target, but also grants her disguise, and disguise is decreased damage taken by 30% and increases the distance the character can move by 2. So she gets an extra 2 movement tile and 30% decreased damage, which is insane in PvP. Extra movement, decreased damage. This lasts until the start of her next turn. So being able to get an extra 2-tile movement is super clutch in PvP because you can just position yourself where you shouldn't be able to. And she already has 5 movement, so now you have a 7 movement with that skill, which is also instant, which means you can run 7 tiles, change her from a seeker to like a breaker, and then attack a tank, and then you would have extra damage because you have an advantage on the class. Or you can proc your anti-espionage order and then pretty much one-shot them because she just does so much damage. If she gets close to you, it's pretty much your character's dead. It's really silly how much damage she can proc in a single turn. But for the most part, Shadowless Blade's PvE. The reason is you can run up to a group of enemies, proc this, and then all of them are going to attack her. But because it's like the computer, the AI, they're all going to take physical AoE damage. It's a huge 3x4 area, and then it inflicts a vulnerable, which means they take increased damage. And then she also recovers 2 energy. Like, it's so broken for PvE, especially with this new event. So what I'm talking about is we'll watch one of the videos that I saved. I was a 5-1 of the new event, and we'll kind of go over what I'm talking about for her skills. So that's what I'm talking about. You can run up to a giant group of enemies. If you did that with any other character, you would die. She gets infinite dodge for a single turn. So the only thing that can hit her is AoE attacks. But any single target magic or physical damage attack misses. So she just hit 3 enemies, and then they all have vulnerability on them. Again, no matter how many times you hit her, as long as it's a single target, it does nothing. But those bombs are AoE, so they still do damage against her. Here comes Akambe. I think Akambe and Safiyyah pair so well, so well together. They very much complement each other in terms of gameplay. But there's Akambe doing some really good work. And then you see those AoEs are starting to do damage, but like even then, it's really not doing a lot of damage considering all physical damage against her, or single target damage against her does nothing. So what happened there is she ran in, used the sudden blade, which is her trinket, and instantly killed that guy. I think she hit like 7,000 or 8,000 total damage. This is her summon. When she summons, she debuffs the target, and then it has a speed almost identical to Safiyyah, so it goes right after her. But talking about that, that was her fortune, her course of fortune, which is their turret. They have the Hangman's Mark, and also it does such a huge explosion, and it also, her talent procs off of that, so it does her piercing damage to anyone that has the Hangman's Mark, which is what happened there. The guy got obliterated. And then this guy just hit 7,000, which is a summon. So Gloria is going to come in, do some good damage. So just pausing, this guy has about 75 to 80% health, and I think he has like 20 to 30,000 HP. And I think Safiyyah is going to go next. It's going to be pretty ridiculous what she does. But she just did a basic attack, hit like 2,000 plus another 7,000, did a speed 3 buff, attack and magic attack buff to Gloria because she's the closest ally. Her fortune turret just procced. She just did another 7.5 thousand. Now her ally is going to come in. He just hit a couple thousand. Her thing procced again for another couple thousand. And then at the end of the second turn, he explodes and does even more damage. So she hit about 25,000 damage against this boss in a single turn, which is ridiculous because the higher HP that a boss has or enemy has, the more damage she's going to do because her talent procs off of the target's HP. Now it can only go up to a max of her physical attack, which is why you want to keep stacking her physical attack, but it's so ridiculous how busted she is in PvE. Just against any enemy that has high health, you just throw her up against it 1v1 and she's coming out without a scratch because her lifesteal. So to reiterate, really she's a T0 unit, a must pull, and she's also part of the discipline, which has a stacked lineup: Akambe, Leonide, Ada, Anana, Simona. Like such a ridiculous lineup, as well as here I don't have Dantillion, he has the buff, but still not a bad lineup whatsoever. So just giving my impressions after some really thorough testing, as well as talking with a lot of people about their thoughts. Some people in my guild have her at 5-star now, and when I talked to them about her, they pretty much said she's even more broken than 3-star or even 1-star. But I think she really shines at 2-star, which is really awesome because a lot of other units don't get super good until they hit they're like 3-star. Like a good example is a Combe. His 1-star versus his 3-star is, he's like a different character, right? But Safiyyah is incredible as a 1-star unit, becomes even more busted at 2-star, and then only gets better as you keep going. But for anyone who pulls her, really farm her out. I think she's a must put on your shards of memory. And really, if you don't have her in this video, you're kind of watching it to see if you might want to pull her. You should go pull her.